Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Smart Money Talk, a platform for discussing personal finance and retirement planning related topics. This program is proudly brought to you by Access Pension Trust, a private pension provider whose mission is to enable you achieve financial peace of mind through our retirement savings solutions. Remember to follow us on all our social media handles to have regular updates on any issues concerning Smart Money Talk as well as financial tidbits. My name is Mimi Anane-Appiah and I'll be your host for today. So Tier 1 or SSNIT, as we all know it, is a major source of retirement income for most Ghanaians. Unfortunately, for most of us, we lack the skills and the knowledge to be able to optimize our retirement benefits. Fortunately for us, today we have with us the head of External Communication, Public Affairs with SSNIT, Mr. Charles Garshong, to throw more light on all about Tier 1. So we are very fortunate to have him. But before we start or continue with the discussions, remember to leave your comments and questions in the chat box. Also remember that we'll be awarding 3 lucky winners for answering the question of the week correctly. So remember to look out for the question of the week, answer it correctly, and you stand a chance of being chosen as one of the 3 lucky winners. As I said, in Access, we want to help you achieve financial peace of mind. So we'll be giving 3 pension vouchers. Make sure you grab one. So welcome, Mr. Charles Garshong. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Mr. Garshong, please, you can unmute your mic.
Thank you very much, Mimi, for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we want to go straight to the topic for today. What is Tier 1 under the Pensions Act in Ghana, and how does it work?
All right, so I think I'll be doing my talk with the help of slides.
Okay, great.
So if the host would allow me to share, I'll do that.
Okay.
So when we talk about Tier 1 or the SSNIT pension scheme, it is just one of the 3 tiers under the National Pensions Act. The National Pensions Act, which was passed in 2008, brought into existence a 3-tier pension scheme. Prior to that, we had the PNDC Law 247 that was governing the operations of pension scheme, and that makes SSNIT the sole operator of pensions in the country. When I say sole operator, I'm not trying to discount the fact that we had Captivity and others in operation. So with the present scheme that we have, it became operational in 2010 after the law was passed in 2008. And that said, okay, let's reorganize the pension scheme. We are going to increase the contribution rate. We are going to have it into 3 tiers. So first tier to be managed by SSNIT, and that is compulsory. We have a second tier managed by private fund managers and trustees. We have a third tier that is voluntary. So the first 2 tiers are compulsory, then the third tier that is voluntary. So the first tier basically is being handled by SSNIT, and it is to cater for pension-related benefits. Pension-related benefits.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Garshong. You can share your slides. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Kindly give us a few minutes so Mr. Garshong can share his slides. Thank you.
All right. Yes, a little.
Okay, great. So would you like to touch on anything before we answer the next question?
Oh, we can take the next question then.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Garshong. Okay, so how does it work? We've asked about what it is, but I want to know how the Tier 1 works. And how is it different from the tier 2 and 3?
So with the tier 1, it is basically funded through contributions of workers. So if you are self-employed, you do your own payment. So the tier 1 is structured such that for every employer, you deduct 5.5% from your worker's salary, then employer tops it up with 13%, making a total of 18.5%. Of this 18.5%, 5% is sent to the tier 2 or the second tier fund managers, then 13.5% comes to SSNIT. The 13.5% that we receive as SSNIT in turn remit 2.5% to the National Health Insurance Authority. So every worker's 2.5% contribution of the salary goes to the NHIS. So whether you've registered or not, 2.5% of your salary is being remitted to the National Health Insurance Authority. Then the 11% that SSNIT has, it invests it and makes sure that it pays monthly pension when people retire. And this is the basic thing. The 11% that you contribute or that is left with SSNIT will have to turn it around. And the longer you contribute, the higher the benefit that you are likely to receive. I'm sure along the line we'll come to know how the pensions are determined and the various types of benefit that we pay. But basically, it is funded through your contribution. So if you are a self-employed person or you are the CEO, you are a consultant, you have the right to contribute to the SSNIT scheme. So you determine what your basic pay is, or you come to us and tell us this is what I can pay. Then we'll tell you, okay, this translates into this salary. So in case you are retiring today, your pension will be based on that salary.
Okay, thank you. How about regular employees?
So with regular employees, once you are in employment, if you look at the law, Section 59 says that the scheme applies to every worker in Ghana.
Okay.
So regular employees do not have the option of joining the scheme or not. Self-employed, it is voluntary. They decide to join the scheme. So the law describes them as voluntary contributors. Okay. But when it comes to regular employees, where you have employee relationship, it becomes mandatory. So that one, the deduction is made at source, where your employer has done the deduction. So it becomes the responsibility of your employer to pay on your behalf. Where employer fails to pay, then the employer or social security or pension related issues are described as human rights. And in that instance, the employer risks the chance of going to prison for 5 years for failure to pay the contribution for you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Garshong. Okay, so I want to know more about the benefits under SSNIT. A lot of us only know about the superannuation or what we call the monthly pensions once they retire. But I do know that there are other benefits under SSNIT. Can you throw more light on the benefits under the tier 1 scheme?
All right, so under the tier 1, there are different types of benefits. And one of them that I will want to touch on briefly is what you mentioned, old age pension or superannuation benefit. If you take out the old age pension or superannuation benefit, you also have survivor's benefit. We have invalidity pension. We do have lump sum, old age lump sum. I'll talk briefly about the old age lump sum because people confuse that with the lump sum paid by the tier 2 fund managers. And we also have immigration benefit. The old age pension, that is what is paid to contributors who have contributed for a minimum of 180 months or 15 years in aggregate. Once you've done that minimum contribution and you have attained the age 60 years, then you qualify to receive your pension. However, there are people after 55, they may say they don't want to work again. The law allows you to apply for what we call reduced pension from 55 years going. Then we have old age benefit given to people who are 55 years and above, but could not contribute for the minimum 180 months. So that one is a return of your contribution plus interest using the treasury bill rate, and that is determined in the law.
Okay.
We have survivor's benefit. The survivor's benefit is simply the benefit we pay to contributors who die whilst in active service. So you are contributing, you are not yet 60, and the person is no more. We pay what they call survivor's benefit.
Okay.
We have instances where pensioners also pass on. If somebody retires and the person dies before age 75, we pay survivor's benefit to the validly nominated dependent. So in that case, why 75? With the pension scheme, we have what we call a guaranteed period of 15 years. So once you retire, there's a promise to pay you up to age 75. So long as you're alive, your pension will be paid. However, if you pass on before 75, then we'll check. If you, for instance, pensioner dies at 65, the promised period or the guaranteed period is 15 years. So between 65 and 75 is a period of 10 years. So we have what we call 10 years of uncollected pension or unexpired pension. So the 10 years unexpired pension will be calculated, and we find in financial terms, we say we are finding the present value of the 10 years pension, and we'll pay that amount to the nominees. The nominees are simply the people that the contributor or pensioner wrote their names, that in case he or she is not alive, we should pay the money to. So that is what is going to happen in that case. Then we have invalidity pension, which is often less spoken of. So the invalidity pension is a benefit that is given to a contributor who has made at least 12 months of contribution within the past 36 months. All you should have done is 12 months of contribution. Once the person is declared permanently invalid, SSNIT will have to put the person onto the pension payroll. And that person will be paid as if he has contributed for the minimum 180 months. And that payment is done for life. As I speak, we have people in their 20s who are receiving invalidity pension. The youngest pensioner is 27 years. Come August, is turning 28. And this person made about 42 months of contribution. The total pension he received within 4 months was more than his total contribution over the 42 months. And he's already been on the scheme for 2 years. He is going to be paid so long as he's alive. And the last benefit we give out is immigration benefit. That is basically for those who registered and joined the scheme as foreigners. So if you're Togolese and you join the scheme and you are leaving the country for good, you get your money back as immigration benefit. That one, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter how long you have contributed. So long as you are emigrating permanently, you receive your money.
Great. I think today we've learned more about SSNIT than we know, especially with the invalidity pensions bit. Thank you so much, Mr. Garshong. We would want to know how okay, before we move to that, how about the past credit and the SSNIT benefits? I mean, even though it's not going to be a permanent feature, can you throw it a bit?
Okay, so the past credit is, like you rightly said, it's not a permanent feature. It is basically a transitional benefit. Let me call it that way. Okay. It is a top up to the lump sum being paid by the tier 2 fund managers like Axis Pension. So if you are a SSNIT contributor and you have been part of the scheme prior to January 2010, so it means as at 31st December 2009, you had contributions with SSNIT. At that time, the contribution was based on 17.5%. We were contributing 17.5%, and everything was coming to SSNIT. From 2010, the contribution rate that was coming to SSNIT reduced to 13.5%. So that 13.5% that we have, it means there's a difference of 4% that is still with SSNIT. So the 4% that SSNIT has from the date you started contributing all the way up to 31st December 2009, 4% of workers' salaries is what we are calling the past credit.
Okay.
And that is inclusive of interest, using 50% of the T-bill, and that is compounded annually up to December 2009.
Okay.
Then from January 2010, when the law was passed, SSNIT was no longer getting that 4%. So that 4% technically should have gone to, let's say, the workers or their tier 2 fund managers. But they said, okay, SSNIT is going to retain that 4%, but this time around, we are going to calculate interest on it using 100% of the 91-day T-bill rate compounded quarterly. So if at the end of December, the total 4% of salaries up to December is, say, 1,000 cedis, and the accrued interest is about 200 cedis, making a total of 1,200 cedis. From Jan 2010, every quarter you calculate interest, add it to it, then you roll it over to the second quarter. So you'll be compounding the interest every quarter.
Okay.
Often people have raised issue that the past credit I'm getting is a bit too small. Yes, the past credit may seem small because if you look at salaries then, the base was really small. If you were in 2005, you were getting a salary of 80 cedis or 800,000 then, converted to 80 cedis. Your 4% was basically 3 cedis, 20 pesos. So if you look at those 3 cedis, 20 pesos, and interest rates were quite okay even then, you realize because the seed money wasn't so huge, you'll still not appreciate. So most of us, our salaries in 2005, the annual salary for 2005 may be far lesser than our monthly salary today. So our total salary for a whole year 15 years ago is not making up to our monthly salary today. So the 4% of that salary is determined, interest is added to it, and it will be paid on the date you are exiting, and that will constitute your past credit.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for throwing a lot of light on this and helping us understand, the issues we may have with the past credit. Okay, so we want to know how the pension benefits are calculated. How do we know what we are getting by the time we retire so that we are not shocked by it?
Good. We have pension, and it is paid to 2 categories of people, or we have put it into 2 categories. We have what we call full pension and reduced pension. The full pension is what we pay to people who retire at 60 after contributing for 180 months or 15 years in aggregate. And the reduced pension is what we pay to workers who decide to retire before age 60, but after 55. So if you retire before 55, you cannot get your pension till you are 55. This is what goes into determining your pension. There are 3 main factors. One is the amount of salary you earned, or the salary on which you contributed.
Okay.
The salary on which you contributed. The next is the number of months you have contributed. And the last factor is the age at which you retire. So the age retirement factor I explained earlier, if you retire at 60, the age retirement factor we use there is 1. It means you are getting your full pension. If you retire before 60, say at 59, you are going to get 90% of what you would have gotten at 60. If you retire at 58, you will get 82.5% of what you would have gotten at 60. If you retire at 57, you are getting 75%. We'll come back to that. But let me talk about the salary on which you contributed.
Okay.
The higher the salary, the bigger your pension. Your pension is determined based on the average of your best 3 years annual salaries. The average of your best 3 years annual salaries. So I have contributed for 35 years. For 32 years or for 31 years, my salary was 1,000 cedis. Gracefully, I have moved to Imani farms, and the farms that I am working at, I'm being paid 10,000 cedis. So if you look at my salaries over 3 years, the best of them was 10,000 cedis, the average. So that average is what is going to be factored in determining my pension. They wouldn't say for greater number of years, my salary was 1,000 cedis. No, we are going to look at the average of those 3 best years' salaries. The next factor is the number of months of contribution. The longer you contribute, the number of months you contribute will actually determine the percentage of your salary you should take as your pension. The pension that is paid to any worker or any contributor is not the same as the salary whilst in active service. It is partial replacement of income. So if you look at the National Pensions Act as 766, as amended by Act 883, it specifies the percentage that should be paid. So if you contribute for a minimum 180 months, you qualify to receive 37.5% of the average of your 3 years best salaries as your pension. Every additional month of contribution increases that percentage by 0.09375. Or better still, for every additional year, so you've done 15 years, another has done 16 years. So 15 years is giving you 37.5. 16 years will give you plus 1.125. 17 years will give you another plus 1.125. So this can increase up to a maximum of 60%. So if I have done 35 years of contribution, that means I've done 420 months of contribution. So I qualify to receive 60% of the average of my 3 years best salaries as my pension. So if the average is 10,000, it means my pension is going to start from 6,000. And this 6,000 is subject to annual review or increase through a process we call indexation.
Okay.
On the other hand, I was on 1,000 for 32 years. It's only changed to 10,000 3 years ago, and that is what is being used for my salary. Mimi, on the other hand, has been on a salary of 10,000 cedis for the past 35 years. We are all retiring at the same time. Her pension, the average of her best 3 year salaries is also going to be 10,000 cedis. So her pension will also be determined using the 10,000. So her pension will be the same as mine, even though in terms of actual contribution, she contributed more than I did. But when we look at the average of the best 3 years best salaries, we are in the same bracket. So the pension will restore you partially to the best life you ever had. So all that I've said is what you can see displayed on your screen in a very simple arithmetic. The average of your 3 years best salary, which is determined based on the data on your salaries. So for some people, if you check their statement, They are on a salary of, say, 8,000 cedis, but their basic is 3,000, and their allowance is a whooping 5,000. So in determining their pension, it is 3,000 that will be factored into determining their pension. And such a person can receive up to a maximum of 1,800 if he should retire. And that same person will say, I was taking 8,000, I have retired, and my pension is only 1,008. But how much were you contributing on? As we speak, those contributing to SSNIT, it is only 2% of workers in Ghana who are receiving a salary of 5,000 cedis and above. Per the basic salary we have in our system, they are contributing on a salary of 5,000 cedis and above. Over 50% of Ghanaians are telling us as SSNIT that our basic salary is 1,000 cedis and below. So if the basic salary is 1,000 cedis and below, what it simply means is that over 50%, if they retire today, their pension will be 600 cedis and below. And I also spoke about the pension right. It is determined by the number of months you have contributed and the early retirement factor, which is the age at which you retire. So if you retired at 60, the factor there is going to be 1. If you retire at 59, the factor will be 0.9. If you retire at 58, it keeps reducing that way. So these are the things or the factors that go into determining our pension. So if you look at it critically, they are all dependent on you, not SSNIT, because your salaries will come from you and your employer. How long you contribute basically determines on you. When you retire, it's also depending on you. So the law has just put it there, and you fill in the bracket. So if you look at the last cells that I have there, the early retirement factor, if you come at 55, it means you are going to get 0.6 of what you should have gotten. 56, you are going to get 0.675. 57 is going to give you 0.75, and so on as you have it there. As we speak, let me chip in this before we come with the next question. As we speak, the highest paid pensioner is getting 129,979 every month. Approximately 130,000 every month. That is the highest paid pensioner. The others, some changes have taken place. So the 37,000, which is the 10th, has been displaced. On the flip side, the lowest paid pensioner is getting 300 cedis. And we have about 900 and almost close to 1,000 people getting 300 cedis. As at end of April. But this is the point. These people taking this low salaries, a chunk of them will probably not have received the 300 cedis if we were to use their actual salaries to determine their pension. Most of these people, I think the lowest pension that we established was supposed to have been 99 cedis, 70 pesos. Because the person's salary was very low. But because we have set as an organization that the minimum pension will be 300, the person was raised and put on the monthly pension of 300. There are people out there, minimum contribution. Some people were contributing on a salary of 150 cedis. So such a person, if the person even qualifies to receive the 60% of 150 cedis, that will not even make up to something more than 900 cedis. Sorry, 90 cedis. No. So these are the things that we have there. But as we speak, those who are turning 60 years from 2020, none of them will receive 30,000 and above because there was a salary cap. So all those above the huge figures you are seeing, they retired under the PNDC law 247. And with that, salaries were not capped. Presently, there's a cap that you can pay contribution to the first year. Beyond a certain amount, all the contributions will be sent to either second or third year. So that is what we have to understand.
Great. Thank you so much. So the insurable salary now has been increased from 25,000 to 30,000, or not yet?
35,000.
35,000.
It's supposed to be 35,000, but we are still in discussion. NPRA
Okay.
has to give us clearance, then we'll rule it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is very, very great information. I think that would lead us to the last question before we take our questions from the chat box. And please remember to drop your questions or comments in the chat box. We have a lot of questions coming in as usual, so we'll try as best as possible to answer the most we can. Okay, so how can I, now that we know all this, how can I optimize my tier 1 benefits? How can I make sure I get the most monthly pension benefits I can get?
All right, so there are a few things we tell people. One, you need to make sure you are contributing on the correct salary.
Okay.
What do we mean by correct salary? Some of us have underdeclared our salaries, but our employers have helped us underdeclare our salaries. We're actually taking 5,000, but they are contributing on 2,000, and you feel they are contributing. Oh, my 5.5% is being worked on only 2,000, so I'm okay. I get a lot of disposable income. But you are getting a lot of disposable income, but it is your employer who is actually benefiting. Your employer should have paid 13% on 5,000, but because you agreed, he's paying the 13% on 2,000. So he's taking 13% of your 3,000 that should have gone into your future savings account. So you'll be losing out. So we advise that you ensure your salary is being, your SSNIT contribution is being paid on your correct salary. The next point, a lot of us, depending on where we are working, we may have some allowances. If possible, negotiate for your salary to be consolidated so that you have a better basic pay. You don't have any allowance, but your basic pay is okay. When your basic pay is okay, you will get better pension from SSNIT. You will get better lump sum from Axis Pension because your contribution will automatically increase. So that is what you will need to do as a worker. Some of us have side jobs. The law permits for multiple contribution from multiple employers. So if you are working in, or you are concurrently engaged, you work here and you are lecturing somewhere else, it is in your interest that your second employer will also pay contributions on your behalf. Once that is being done, it will come into the same SSNIT account and it will shoot up your insurable income. Then you are going to get better pension. Okay. So these are things you need to do, and you need to also ensure that you check your statement periodically. As I speak, we've been sending statement to our members every quarter. So if you are not getting the SSNIT statement, the implication is that we don't have your valid email address and phone number, and you will have to do that update to get your statement every quarter. Okay. Otherwise, you may have to visit our website and use the self-service there to assess your statement. Okay. So these are things you need to do, then you can enhance your pension.
Okay, so how about those who are thinking about retiring early? Does it affect the kind of, or the amount of benefit they can take home? Would you advise they stay till 60?
I would not say go early or wait. If you decide to retire early, you're going to get reduced benefits. So I am retiring at 59. If I had retired at 60, my pension would have been 10,000. Because I'm retiring at 59, SSNIT says they are going to pay me 9,000. However, next year SSNIT will be doing indexation, depending on the factors that are depending on the let's say inflation rate, growth in fund, and all that. The indexation may go up to 10% or 15%. If it goes up to 10%, I'm likely to be restored close to my 10,000 that I would have gotten if I had waited.
Okay.
So why will I want to wait? You can exit and still apply. Annual increment may restore you to where you would have been if you had waited till 60. So it depends on the case. If the person is strong, but retirement basically, don't retire because there is only SSNIT pension. We all need to plan for our retirement. SSNIT pension is simply an aspect of your retirement life. So you plan the kind of retirement you want to have, then you begin to save towards it. SSNIT pension will only pushing you every month, but because you have predetermined what life you want to live. So I want to put this into the tier 3, I want to put that into tier 2. So you engage your pension advisors, you go to Axis or whatever, you engage them. They will advise you on the amount you can save to have the kind of retirement life you are looking at. Because after retirement, one of the critical things we look out for is health, and you need to plan. So it is entirely up to the person.
Okay, there are so many questions. I wanted to ask one more question, but I think I'll address these questions that are coming in. So we have one question from Nana Bain-Se. And the question is, how do you benefit from the 2.5 that is remitted to NHIA if you're on the private health insurance scheme?
All right, so if you're on the private health insurance scheme, I will advise that you still get onto the national health insurance scheme. So that will also be supplementary to what you are getting from the private health insurance scheme. The 2.5% is by law. So we are funding the national health insurance scheme for our benefit and for the benefit of the larger society. So the law says 2.5 should go. So you have the right to use it, and you have the right to allow others to use it in the interest of the nation.
Okay. So it's sort of like a welfare scheme.
Welfare, general welfare of everybody.
Okay, so if you are not using it, at least some poor person somewhere is using it.
Exactly. So if you look at it, those who are contributing under PNDC Law 247, some people's contribution to the National Health Insurance Scheme was 2,500 every month because they were on a salary of about 100,000. So by the end of the year, they were contributing 30,000 to the National Health Insurance Scheme annually. And such people, they don't know where the NHIS offices are, right? They wouldn't visit their place for anything because they have a lot of private staff.
Okay, thank you so much. Benedicta is asking, does immigration benefits apply to non-resident Ghanaians? Can non-resident Ghanaians make contributions?
No. And yes.
Okay.
if you are a worker in Ghana and you've been transferred to go and work outside, you've gone on mission, your employer is still here, you are still a Ghanaian worker.
Okay.
So you can pay contributions. If you look at Section 3 of Act 766, it says that a social security scheme applies to all workers in Ghana.
Okay.
So whether you're a Ghanaian or not. So I work with Company A. I've been sent to Liberia for the next 10 years. Contributions will be paid on my behalf.
Okay.
I am working in Liberia. I am not working in Ghana. I pay my taxes in Liberia. I don't pay my taxes in Ghana. And Social Security is within jurisdictions. In Liberia, they have their own Social Security scheme. So it is advised that you contribute there. Once you are bringing in money, and we have to know whether this is income related. It gets to a point where people try to buy pension. And when you want to buy pension, we try to check your tax returns. So if a worker is outside the country and the person wants to take advantage of the scheme and hike salaries, how do we establish that the salary was indeed genuine for us to be able to make sure that we pay the right pension? So because of those things, the law does not allow us to take contribution from workers who are not in Ghana.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a question from Daniel, and he's asking, please, my first 2 employers paid my tier 2 to SSNIT. How do I retrieve this to my tier 2 fund manager?
All right. SSNIT collected the money and sent to the temporary pensions fund account with Bank of Ghana. So SSNIT does not have that money. So all SSNIT at the beginning of the scheme, when we transition into the 3-tier scheme, the tier 2 and tier 3 fund managers have not been licensed, structures have not been put in place. So SSNIT was charged to collect that money and send to Bank of Ghana. So that was being done. Once the fund managers were licensed to operate, they were then supposed to transfer them transferred. I'll advise that you contact NPRA or your employers or the previous employers, because the employers assisted their workers to choose fund managers. And where you are today, if you feel the fund manager there is not what you want and you want to port to Access, I think that there's portability there, the flexibility that you can port your funds to where you want it to be. So just contact your previous employers. First, check your statement. Contact your previous employers who are your fund managers and trustees. Get them to see whether they received your funds. If not, contact NPRA. Let them come in. The right thing will be done. As of now, nobody has any tier 2 fund with us.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. We have another question from Joyce Appiah, and she's asking, if someone has contributed for 15 years and now he's out of job doing his own business, how does SSNIT come in, or until 60 years he doesn't get any benefits?
All right, so if you're out of job, you are doing your own business. The law allows for self-employed to contribute. So you can walk into any SSNIT office and tell them you want to contribute as a voluntary contributor. So with the voluntary contributors, if you fail to pay in a particular month, nobody comes to serve you demand notice that you are owing, because you are doing it for yourself. So you declare or determine which amount you want to pay. The fact that you are paying 200 cedis whilst with a previous employer does not mean you have to maintain a 200. You pay according to your strength or what you have declared for yourself as salary. And until you attain 55 or 60, you cannot apply for benefits. So if you have exited formal work, we strongly advise that you continue with your contribution. However, if you don't want to continue, you will then have to wait till you qualify by age to be able to put in your claim for benefit.
Yes, and this will definitely affect your benefit, because then maybe you were taking too little, and by the time you retire, things may have gone up. And okay.
Very well.
Thank you so much for answering. We have another question from Stephen Mensah. As a SSNIT contributor, can I personally add my contributions aside from what is deducted from source?
Yes and no. We need to know whether you are working and you are earning income from that side. That is why you are coming to add on, because the contribution is income related. So you can say I've taken 2,000 cedis. Contribution has been paid on the 2,000. However, the take home that I received, the 1,500 I received, I want to take part of that money and still come and contribute. That would say tier 3. You can pay that into tier 3, but not the SSNIT scheme. Because like I said earlier, as I said, people at a point of determining your pension, we may have to look at certain things if we suspect salary hike. And one of the things when it comes to that point, you try to find out, was that money genuine? Because people can actually go and take a loan that I know is going to be based on the best 3-year salary. So I'm going to take some huge loan. I have already scored the 60%. I'm going to pump it in there and it will shoot up my pension. I can easily pay off that loan. Once you do that, it affects the sustainability of the scheme. If you look at it, if we don't sustain it well, it will collapse and all of us will have issues.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if you have any extra contributions, look at the TSP personal pension or your provident fund. Okay, there's a name, there's a question from Cynthia, and she's asking, SSNIT was earlier paying a lump sum, now they don't. How would that impact on pensioners' pay?
Okay, we're paying lump sum when we're collecting all the contributions, and it was 17.5. Now we don't collect all the contributions. The truth is we are left with only 11% of workers' salaries. So it is 11% that we are collecting. And that 11% guarantees you minimum of 300% of what you contributed, because the minimum pension is 37.5. So the 11% guarantees you a minimum of 300% of what you brought in, up to a maximum of about 600%. But the lump sum, it is now being catered for by your Tier 2 fund manager. That is why 5% of your salary goes to Tier 2. A lot of people have raised issue that if they look at the past credit, that is those who contributed before 2010, the past credit that is being paid by SSNIT, plus their Tier 2 lump sum or the lump sum from their Tier 2 fund managers, it is still not up to the previous 25% lump sum SSNIT was paying. It is true for a lot of people, but this is the reason. It is a transitional period, because we have not done so many years of contribution into the Tier 2. The gestation period is pretty short. So for those of us who are younger and will be having longer period with our Tier 2, there's a likelihood that if the investment environment is good and we have very good fund managers, we are likely to get huge benefits from that point. So that is my simple answer. So you are not lost, you'll still be getting your lump sum.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the the answer. We have another question from Pep Asante, and she's asking, how do I validate my contact details to get my monthly statement? Can it be done virtually?
Yes, it can be done virtually. As I speak now, we have about 500,000 people being engaged through Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So if you go to our Facebook page or our Instagram or Twitter page, you'll get people to attend to you. You send us your details inbox. Okay, so I've displayed the social media handle at SSNIT Ghana. You can send us your email, your SSNIT number, your full name, and your phone number. We'll get to you, ask you 1 or 2 questions. Based on your response, then we'll update your contact details and we'll send you statement.
Okay.
In case you don't want to use that platform, you can call our helpline, the contact center number 0302-641-622, as displayed on the screen, and we'll assist you.
Okay, so the contact details have been displayed on the screen, so just in case you need it, you can pick it up. Okay, Matthew Osei Nkuma is asking, with the upcoming integration between Ghana Card and SSNIT records, which of them will be sourced in terms of date of birth? Where are the differences? Sorry.
All right, we'll still rely on the date of birth that you gave us.
Okay.
Going into the future, your personal ID number on your Ghana card is going to replace your SSNIT number. That is what we are going to use as your social security number. In fact, we are likely to roll out next month. So look out for it. We'll put up a USSD code, so you can merge your SSNIT number with your personal ID on your phone, just a USSD code, or you can do it on our website. But this is the point. The details you have with us, is going to be used. Your date of birth will not be overwritten by that of Ghana card. No.
Okay. So you cannot change it.
No, you cannot change it unless you have very valid points. There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, thank you so much. And we have another question from Enoch, and he's asking, if it's in a regular employment but is treated as a consultant, and receives fees monthly, not salary, I think, is such a person obliged to contribute to tier 1 and 2?
It is, if we define it as regular employment, now you're trying to classify it as consultant. So once they put you in a class of consultants, so to speak, you're on your own. You're not working for them. You're offering, we have contract for service and contract of service. So if it means you're your own employer. You don't have any benefit as an employee from that organization because you're a consultant. So it is not a regular employment then. But if it is really a regular employment and the person is using semantics, your employer is using semantics just to take advantage of the system, then you can draw attention to it. We have a whistleblower. Once you send us a mail, we'll know how to investigate and try and come up with issue. We've had a lot of employers who want to, because of the 13% commitment they have to make, they try to hide so they can actually take advantage of workers. Once you report, we will investigate and really not bring you to the fore that, oh, Kwame came to our office to tell us that we are trying to categorize him A, B, C. We have a mode of operation. Once we establish the fact, we'll get him to do the needful. We'll normally not want to rush into prosecution. We want to engage. And where engagement fails, we are compelled to take legal action. And it is a criminal offense, okay, once it comes up.
Okay. Criminal offense. Yeah, the employer, please pay your employees' contributions. Juliana is asking, I own a chop bar. Can I pay my own SSNIT contributions? Should it be necessarily the set amount all the time? So I think she's asking whether it should be a fixed amount all the time.
All right, so you own a chop bar, you're a coconut seller, whatever you do, we advise that you contribute. And you're contributing, you've told yourself, this is the kind of life I'm looking at. So you determine the monthly contribution you want to make. We normally advise that if you want to change your contribution, declare a particular contribution for the year. So every year you can be changing it. Every year you want to review it, and we advise you review upwards. But if for whatever reason you want to review downwards, it is allowed. But if you are reviewing downwards,
okay,
then it means you are looking at getting something lesser when you retire.
Okay.
So you can review your contribution, but it is advised that you do that review.
Okay. Thank you. Another question from Nana Asase, and he is asking, how can an institution transfer its tier 2 contributions with SSNIT to the tier 2 fund manager? I think you mentioned that there's no tier 2 with SSNIT, so kindly contact NPRA on that particular issue as to where your tier 2 funds are. That's if after you have contacted the employer and they have confirmed that the tier 2 hasn't yet been transferred. Okay. We have a few more minutes, so we'll take some 1 or 2 questions before we end. Okay, before we do that, the question of the week. You have your phones ready. Which of these is a core benefit of the SSNIT scheme? A, free healthcare. 2, tax exemption. And 3, invalidity pensions. A, free healthcare. B, tax exemptions. And C, invalidity pensions. So as I mentioned, answer the question of the week correctly, and you stand a chance of winning the pension voucher. And I just want to make sure that you retire comfortably. So we are giving you a pension voucher if you're able to answer the question of the week correctly. As the questions come in, we'll just take 1 or 2 more questions. Someone was asking whether they would have to pay contributions for volunteers and interns.
I'm particularly normally answering this question because of the same semantics. So if they are volunteers and interns, it has to be clearly stated.
Okay.
But where you have the person is on something regular, the law says that if you employ for even 1 month, contributions will have to be paid for the person. So we need to understand clearly what are the terms of engagement, okay? And if you say the person is an intern, the person is an intern and he's been there volunteer 1 year, 2 years, and that is all the person does. And we realize that at least you give the person something regular, as if it is normal employment. I will say he's doing nothing, so we've engaged him 6 months, and the person also agrees because he wants that thing. So it has to be clearly defined. Otherwise, almost all of us will become volunteers for our employers.
Interesting. Okay. As we are still waiting, there's another question. If a friend nominated you as a beneficiary without the knowledge of their family and they pass, how can you access the payout?
That nominee is an invalid nomination.
Okay.
What am I calling invalid nomination? The law says that the nominees or the nomination of beneficiaries should be family. So we've had instances where people nominate their girlfriends and boyfriends, side boys and side girls, as their beneficiaries. And at the point of registering, they will tell you brother or sister because they know it is not allowed. So if a friend nominates you and you are not family, it is an invalid nomination. So it will be treated as if the person died interstate. So that will be, we'll have to apply the PNDC law 111 to redistribute that part of the benefit. But let me quickly chip in this. I will urge people to be updating their nominees. We have instances where people registered before they got married. Now they have a family. They use their siblings. They've not updated their beneficiaries. It is in your interest to do the update. We also have instances where people pass on. They forgot to bring in their children and their spouses. The law gives them the right to go to court and apply for variation. They tell the court, my spouse was not wicked to have left me. So court, please give me part of the benefit. Where there are minors, and the minors were nominated and given less than 60% of the total benefit, the law says that we should vary it and give them 60%.
Okay.
Where the minors were not nominated at all, so you nominated your spouse, but your child below 18, you didn't nominate that child. The law says that we should give that minor 60% of the total benefit. Okay. So if a contributor passes on and has a wife and children who are old and has a child somewhere who the wife doesn't know, so born out of wedlock, and we start the processing, we do investigations, and we discover that there's a child outside somewhere, we bring that child on. If the total benefit is 1 million Ghana cedis, we'll give that child 600,000. Then the wife and 5 children proper will have to manage the 400,000.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So we are wrapping up for today. We have 3 winners, yay, for the pension voucher. So the correct answer was C, invalidity pensions. So unfortunately, if you didn't answer it correctly, sorry, try next time. And we have 3 winners. We have Dr. Abe, Samuel Nate, and then Alfreda Corte Papafio. So kindly call Access on the 0302 738 555, 0302 738 555 to claim your pension voucher. There are so many questions. Unfortunately, if we say we are going to answer it, Mr. Garshong won't sleep today. So we'll let him go. But kindly remember that the SSNIT contact has been dropped on the screen. We can see the 0302 611 622. And we can also see the WhatsApp line 050 3050. At Access 2, we are financial advisors and we have financial planners. We also have a lot of tools to help you calculate all these things. So kindly reach us on 0302 738 555 and we'll help you plan your pension so that when you retire, you have a very comfortable retirement. Thank you so much, Mr. Garshong. This has been such an insightful session. We wish we could continue till 6 o'clock, but I know you're a very busy person and you have a lot to do. So thank you so much for your time. And thank you once again, everyone, for making time to join us today. Kindly look out for our announcement on when the next Smart Money session will be so that you can join. We have a lot of exciting discussions when it comes to personal finance and retirement planning. Our goal is that the Ghanaian will have financial peace of mind. You won't go to bed thinking about money. So kindly make sure you're following all our social media handles so that you are updated. Remember that this program is brought to you by Access Pension Trust, your private leading pension provider, whose mission is to ensure that you achieve financial peace of mind through our retirement savings solutions. Once again, you can reach us on 0302 738 555. Till next time, have a lovely, lovely, lovely week, lovely month, lovely quarter.